Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream. Today, Ron Nicoletti along with Acacia Courtney. It is Holy Bull Day, one of my favorite days of racing, all through the championship meet, and it honors one great racehorse and 5 graded stakes this afternoon.
Yeah, of course, as the road to the Triple Crown starts here in South Florida. Kentucky Derby points on the line this afternoon in the Holy Bulls. We get a chance to see a lot of these 3-year-olds making the first start of their 3-year-old campaign. As Dale Romans told me the other day, this is the time for the 2-year-old boys to become men.
Good way of putting it. Fast main track, firm turf course, of course the all-weather Tapeta. We got the Super High 5 carried over from yesterday with about 9,000 in it. And, of course, the Pick 5 starting here. And Brian put a ticket together this morning or this afternoon. I don't know when he did it, but here it is.
He did it at some point, but here it is right now, which is a good thing. Singling in the first leg with Flor de Plata, Jorge Delgado, and Chantel Sutherland have been very strong together. 3 horses in the second and the third. Race 3 is one of a couple really exciting maiden special weights on today's card. A spread in the fourth, which is a really tough non-winners of 2 on the turf. And then in the fifth, which is the Claiborne Farm Swale, Brian will go 2 deep with Of a Revolution and In Dreams.
Yeah, I can't wait to see In Dreams run for Brad Cox this afternoon. So very affordable, $45 ticket. Now let's go to this first race this afternoon. 5.5 furlongs. As we mentioned, fast main track, maiden claiming filly 3-year-olds. $12,500 very early in the wagering. The horse that we have on top, number 10, Good Trouble, is dropping to this level today.
Yeah, that's you, right? Good Trouble.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
As this horse dropping down in class. I mean, yes, this is the type of horse that just is a textbook type of horse that will take money. Drop in class, Irad Ortiz. But this one just ran a good race last time out on the Tapeta here at Gulfstream in October. Does go back to the main track today. Ran fine on the main track a couple back. Just thought this was the right place for her.
Yeah, Gustavo Delgado, the trainer's got Irad Ortiz Jr. I'm sure that's some of the 9 to 5 right now. We both have the number 5, Flor de Plata. Turn it back to 5.5. Take the blinkers off this afternoon. Stalk the pace, finished third. That was going 6. Chantal rides for Jorge Delgado. This is Brian Single right here.
Brian Single, and yeah, she was beaten as a favorite last time out. So that was where I was a little bit concerned as she's starting to kind of rack up the races. That was her first time at the 12.5 level. Blinkers off today, so we'll see if that makes a change this afternoon. And she does have some natural speed, which certainly is going to benefit her. I thought the Ralph Nix Firster Evil, of course, was a little bit intriguing, just maybe the right spot for a Firster.
I just wanted to mention the number 7, Nobody's Secret, who's debuting locally for Claudio Gonzalez. If you don't follow our sister tracks up there in Maryland, he's the perennial leading trainer. We jokingly call him the Todd Fletcher of Laurel. I want to show you a stat with Claudio Gonzalez just to get take a look with sprints, first time Lasix in the dirt. He's 24%. 57% in the money and a positive return of investment of $2.34. And he's got a string down here now, so maybe people, you watch out for him. He does a really good job.
Yeah, a handful of horses up at Palm Meadows and be running here throughout the winter meet.
Race number 2 this afternoon. We're going to the all-weather, the Tapeta, 1 mile and 70 yards about distance. Starter optional claim of 3-year-olds, 16 less or the optional tag of 16. Full field of 7 with no scratches in here. We both went with the number 2, Savage Sailor, going to the Larry Ravelli barn.
And this one, it's interesting. Claimed off of Grand Motion, not an easy thing to do, but the barn, Larry Ravelli, very strong off the claim. And this one just really seems to have improved on the Tapeta down here at Gulfstream for 25, 2 back, ran a really big second, dropped for 16 last time and won impressively. Keeps Tyler Gaffleone off the claim, and we know that, again, he can handle the surface, and he, I think, should get a good race flow today.
Yeah, we'll show you a stat for Larry Ravelli. Now, I just put with synthetics. First after the claim, synthetic roots, he's 8 for 19, 42%, 84% in the money. 225 is return investment. We were talking about this yesterday. His overall first after claim is 54%. So I wanted to narrow it down to synthetic and the roots, and it's still good. So that's one. I just wanted to point that out. And, you know, it's going to be a big, big favorite, I think, in the second race. You went with the number 7 horse in here, Birdman Ritchie in second.
Yeah, this is the former Larry Ravelli, first off the claim for Antonio Sano, and I don't really trust him. But as far as the straight synthetic races do go, 2 back on the Tapeta, was running against state-bred allowance types, first-level allowance types here at Gulfstream, significantly tougher than what he's running against today. And Iran Ortiz rode this horse that day, and he's going to be back aboard today for Antonio Sano. I thought he could be a little sneaky in here.
Panorama Truck has been knocking on the door in a trio of races against this, going to mile 70 odds on the all weather, including that third-place finish against state-bred allowance runners. Figures prominently, and as you read when we were talking about Brian's ticket, this third race, really nice. It's 6 furlongs, maiden special weight, 3-year-olds. I'm going to see some good ones maybe today, and this could be the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Race number 3, and I think it all kind of revolves around what do we get from Palm Island. We did have an expensive $1 million plus Todd Fletcher horse debut yesterday that didn't run, so yes, the price tag doesn't mean everything, but this one was purchased at the 2-year-old sale, now debuting in the early part of his 3-year-old season, and thought it'd be fun to go back and show this sales workout. It was right here at Gulfstream, at the Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream sale. He went 10 flat, and you can see him just absolutely flying over the racetrack. To go 10 flat on a conventional dirt track like here at Gulfstream, that's very rare. This was the 3rd priciest horse purchased that day at the sale, of course, for the Magner Tabor connections and co. A nice pedigree here. This is the full brother. It's a Grade 1 winner, Dream Tree. So I'm sure very high expectations, and that sales workout showing a lot plus the pedigree.
Yeah, working very well up there at Palm Beach Downs. So we'll see how that horse runs. $1.3 million. I went with the number 7 in here. I didn't know how well this horse is going to run. I'm hoping it runs well. And that's the number 7. I think it's Octozingo, who's a half brother to superstar Latruska. When I saw that debut for Fausto Gutierrez, of course, who conditions Latruska, going to get Lasix. Steady workout pattern showing also at Palm Beach Downs. I think you got to watch the tote action here because the works are nothing to jump off the page.
No, they're not. And Latruska's, as we know, much better going longer. Right. That's where all of her races were run. But we'll see. There is Trigger Warning in the family, who is a pretty good dirt sprinter as well. It was certainly useful. The other Todd Fletcher is Stay Restless, who is a colt by Empire Maker. Thought that this one had a look of a horse who could potentially want to go a little bit longer down the line. And then speaking of the Fasig-Tipton Gulfstream sale, Nitrous Channel sold at that sale as well. Also working 10 flat for George Weaver, just based off of watching those sales works. I did prefer what we saw from Palm Island, but another intriguing one out of that sale here at Gulfstream.
Yeah, great watching these races. We'll see how they run. That is race number 3. And getting to race number 4, what mile on the turf here? This claim is 4 and up, non-winners of 2 in life, 20 down to 16. Big field of 11, no scratches, jockey changes, and I don't know. Brian used a bunch in here because it is a wide
tough race.
You went with the number 2 Super Fortune.
I did. First off, the claim for Bobby DeBona, who does have 2 in here, and they have complementary running styles, which is nice too. You have the speed of Caribbean Gold down to the inside, and this one will be coming from off of it. Ran okay as the favorite last time out, but the race 2 back was really strong. So let's see if he can run back to that this afternoon, and he will be running late.
We got our exacta flip-flop. I went with the number 3, Al Halal, who was solid breaking his maiden on the grass right here last summer. Goes back to the turf today. After returning from the layoff, he finished that well mid-4th, going a mile in the 16th on the all-weather for 1 C. Avila. And you have Paco Lopez handling the surface, which they sort of look like the logical 2 in here. Then you can go a lot of different ways. I went with the Tem Mamza, who's debuting locally for who? Colorado Gonzalez, so we'll see how this horse runs today.
And he went a mile in 16th at Charlestown, which I think is about 8 turns at that track. But no, I think that he's very intriguing. I gave a little look to Windy City Red for Mike Stidham, who showed speed on the Tipita last time out.
Let's go to race number 5, first of 5 graded stakes on the card. 7 furlongs, 3-year-olds, $100,000 is the grade 3 Swale Stakes. And boy, this looks like it's going to be a real quick one.
Yes, it will be. There's some fast horses in here. We'll show a very fast horse in his last win, In Dreams, for Brad Cox. This horse has been so impressive in his last 2, winning at Churchill for his maiden, and then this allowance race at Oaklawn against a really salty field. Chasing Time came back to win. He's a very talented horse. Got an 81 Beyer speed figure in his next start, and Magnolia Midnight, the 3rd place finisher, came back to win again with an 87 as well. This was a very impressive and geared down to the wire win at Oaklawn for In Dreams. I thought that he just looks like he could be the fastest of the field, and I didn't necessarily trust a couple of the others in here.
You did say key race, right?
Oh, yeah. I knew you'd be all over that.
Number 1, My Pranksters. That's her. This one takes place at Keeneland in October, stretches out to 7/8. Rally has the odds-on choice to defeat those 75 optional claimers here, going 6 for Mr. Fletcher. Louis Sayers returning. This is a $600,000 son. I love the intermissions.
And I was a little underwhelmed by that last win. I think we all were. Little Vic took it to him every step of the way, and it just felt like that was the type of foe that he should have easily handled. Maybe he's rounding into form. Maybe he had his heart broken a bit in the Champagne, but after that dominant win in his debut at Saratoga, I think the expectations were just so high, which sometimes is really hard to live up to. If you're a fan of Mo Donegal later in the Holy Bull for Todd Fletcher, they've been workmates. My prankster has been keeping up with Mo Donegal in the mornings. He's always been a good workhorse, this son of Into Mischief, though, so we'll see if he can take a step forward today.
And the number 3 of a Revolution, who's stretching out the additional furlong today after rallying to finish second. That was in the 6 furlong Limehouse for Saffy Joseph Jr. Tyler Gaffleone in the saddle again.
Won an allowance race 2 back ahead of Simplification, who's going to try to take them every step of the way in the Holy Bull later on. He makes sense. Dean Delivers ran a big race last time out off a layoff. We'll see how he handles the 7 furlongs, which is a question for some in here as well.
Well, that is race number 5, the Swale Stakes. Let's go to race number 6 this afternoon. This one, we're going back on the all-weather surface. This is a really interesting race to be on the Tapeta, and it's about 1 mile 70 yards, maiden special weight 3-year-olds. And so you went with the number 10. This race sort of tough to figure out.
Yes, it is. I went with the number 10, Dream of a Day, who I know has already had 5 races so far. This horse ran huge on the Tapeta 2 starts back for Barclay Tagg, was beaten just a nose behind Father Glado, who has some ability for Jose D'Angelo as well. He will be running late. I know it was a disappointing effort on the turf last time out, but I think that we've kind of seen that he can run on the turf, but maybe his better surface is the Tapeta for Barclay. So I'm intrigued to see how he does switching back. I thought he was very interesting in here.
I did go, well, I'm riding the Todd Fletcher bandwagon this afternoon with my Romeo Lima, a $610,000 son of Malibu Moon, debuting on the Tapeta for Todd with Lasix and a slew of really swift workouts showing on the Palm Beach Downs main track. Arad's going to jump aboard there. I just thought this one might be a logical horse to be on top of the ticket for me at least.
Yeah, I had a really tough time with this race. The question I had, and I'm going to try to find some value, and I'll be intrigued to see all of these horses a little bit later on, watching his workouts. And the last one was from the gate, which typically is a bit of a red flag for me. Watching his workouts, he's been working in blinkers and company and working fine, a little bit second best in the morning, just a bit even. Certainly could just be one of those grinding types that 2 turns will really suit him quite well. The number 2, Allegorical, though, making his first start for Mark Casse, ran well. He's an Ontario bred, and that made an optional claiming up at Woodbine in that debut, showing speed. We already know he can handle the surface.
Yeah, that's the Woodbine Tapeta course up there. Louis Sayers in the saddle. I had some interest in the number 1, Grand David, who's going back to the all-weather today after following a pair of in-the-money finishes on the surface. Comes back, runs a third going a mile on a good turf course that day. Victor Barboza, Paco Lopez handling inside draw this afternoon.
And then number 5, Kufu for Patrick Bancone, as 3 consecutive bullet works. And I thought you can watch the January 2nd one on XBTV when he works in a team of 3 and just comes and closes and gets the horses in front of him. And I'm speaking to Andy Biancone, who's ridden him. She says she hasn't been able to restrain him in the mornings, and he's doing this all easily. So this should be a really, really interesting race.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just going and being on it's on the all-weather makes it so intriguing. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back for the Rainbow Six.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round off first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Keisha. Race number 7, the Grade 3 Kitten's Joy, mile in the 16th on the turf, kicks off our Rainbow 6 with a $300,000 gross jackpot pool this afternoon. And in this 6 races, 4 of them are graded stakes. So let's take a look at my $48 ticket this afternoon. Too deep in here. I really like Speaking Scout. That's my best bet of the afternoon. But I use Grand Sonata on the ticket. And then in race number 8, it's thinking of singling radio days, but I used Diamond Wow. That horse just impressed me so much. Here's the one that got me. So I went deep in race number 9. I learned this from Brian. Just take everything if you possibly can. And then in race number 10, Opalina, roughly a diamond. In race number 11, Mo Donegal and Giant Game. I know you like the way that horse looks, so I use them on there. Got my long shot in the last 20-1 on the morning line. Graceful Kitten. All about the speed and the nightcap for me.
I like it. $48. You're throwing us off a little bit here, but it's a Saturday, so we'll forgive you.
Yeah, so getting back, once again, the Kitten's Joy Grade 3, mile in the 16th on the turf, 3-year-olds, $100,000, no scratches, no jockey changes. What are we doing?
Well, I think you and I have the same thought process. Red Danger and Speaking Scout come out of the same race in the pulpit. And we'll show that race. And don't be thrown off as there is no chiclet on the bottom for Speaking Scout as we backtrack to December 3rd. He is the number 12 in the Eclipse colors, while Red Danger, the 5. And then this was a huge performance from Red Danger as Julian Leparoux actually dropped his riding crop in the stretch and was able to just continue on. I think the wide post and the wide trip for Speaking Scout really did not bode well for him as he had to overcome a lot of ground a little bit late. Reticent, I should say, to switch leads. He never did switch to the outside lead, Speaking Scout. So he gets the blinkers on today. And I think that there's a chance that we could see this flip-flopped as well. With the two of them so close, too, he was trying to lug in a little bit, hanging on that left lead. I think the blinkers will add more focus, and I think Speaking Scout can turn the tables.
Yeah, any time that you see a horse run that well from that post, going about 7.5 furlongs on this turf course, you have to give a horse a second look, and you gave it a great, he did not have his, crop with him, so we'll see how this runs. I love him this afternoon. And Graham Motion, every horse he has started at the meet has run exceptionally well. Going to put the blinkers on, as you mentioned. You went with the number 2 horse in second, Coinage, who's a Grade 3 winner at the distance up at Saratoga.
This is a speed play, and he got away with a very slow pace and with anticipation to win that day. But he actually ran pretty well in the now, taken, I think, a little bit out of the game that he really wants to. And Dakota Gold ran huge in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf as well. Part of the pace in the Breeders' Cup. Last time out, his first start since that try, he's out of Bar of Gold, Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner, but it's kind of found a home on the turf. Like I said, it's a speed play. I think they'll be aggressive with Louis Saez aboard.
Let's show you a stat with the trainer Mark Cassie, of course, the trainer of Coinage, a layoff of 61 to 180 days. In graded stakes, this is, he's 6 for 43, 14%, 42% in the money. Even return of investment 201, and that's in graded stakes over the past 5 years on the turf.
And then you have Todd Fletcher, as you mentioned. Todd Fletcher could have another banner day after winning both the Pegasus World Cup Dirt and Turf last weekend. He's got Grand Sonata of the 2. The other one is Royal Spirit, both you and I preferring Grand Sonata. I thought this horse was really game last time out, and he showed another dimension in that he wired the field in an off-the-turf race to break his maiden, and he showed that he stacks up with these, winning the Dana Beach.
Yeah, he broke slowly in that race there. There was only 6 in the field, so he beat 5 rivals, as you mentioned. But, Todd, he's almost 30% winning consecutive races. Tyler Gaffleone going for 2 in a row. I was impressed by it, and that is the Kitten's Joy, which will be race number 7. When we go to race number 8, the stakes action continues in here. It's 7 furlongs, Phillies, 3-year-olds, $100,000 is Grade 3, the forward gal, and this is where Brian put together his late pick 5 ticket.
Kicking off in the forward gal, always a fun race as we'll get a chance to see where the Phillies stack up, and he's going to single right off the bat with Radio Days, who has just run really high buyer speed figures in New York, and she looks to go 3 for 3. Brian's going to spread in the 9th race, where it feels like you have every horse that we saw last year coming back and making the first start of 2022 in this race, and so it should be really fun to get a chance to see all of those interesting runners. The Swedish Chant, he's got 3 horses horses, using just 2 in the Holy Bull with Mo Donegal and Simplification, who I know he likes to potentially wire the field, and then 4 horses in the Nightcap, which is a tough race on the turf. And I'd just like to point out that I have my long shot in the Nightcap as well.
Well, we'll have dueling long shots unless we have the same. We've done that a bunch of times.
I don't think we do. No.
I don't think we did too. A couple of jockey changes in here. The one horse in this race is going to be ridden by Junior Alvarado, and number 4 is going to be ridden by Paco Lopez. It looks like Franklin Pennington didn't make it down, so a couple of jockey switches. We'll let you know what the other ones are. But of course, Pete Aiello will be back after we're done with all the scratches and changes you need. 7 furlongs. Wow, you didn't go with Radio Days.
I'm trying to get a little bit of a price in here. But yeah, Radio Days, she is, I think, the one to beat. She ran huge in her 2 races up in New York. And it's interesting because she's the half-sister to Bowie's Hero, very good on turf, multiple graded stakes winner. So she won on the slop in her debut, but she backed that up with a big performance last time out. She's the one to beat.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get cute in here and get a little bit of value.
Yeah, you jumped on the Todd Fletcher bandwagon with that one. Well, Radio Days, a $750,000 daughter of Gun Runner, makes her stakes here after a pair of impressive sprints in New York, including she won by 8.5 lengths over those optional claimers. Shug McGay's got Dylan Davis, who's ridden this horse perfectly, come down from up in the frigid north.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Dylan doesn't mind going down for the day and to ride a filly that he's handled so well. Gratitude is where I did land. She was one that I've just really loved all along. I've been a fan of hers, and pulled a recent workout. I thought that would be interesting to see, as she worked in company with the horse that we saw break his maiden so impressively here, and that's Emmanuel. He just won a 2-turn allowance race at Tampa. She's on the inside. First of all, she's working with a colt. She's working with a talented colt who just won a 2-turn allowance race at Tampa, and she's keeping up, and she actually finishes a bit better inside. So that kind of pushed me towards her direction a little bit. I thought this was really interesting, and that's the beauty of XBTV and getting a chance to watch these horses in the morning.
And Emmanuel, they're high on that horse, and as you said, went up to Tampa and won that 2-turn race, so very important. You have Girl with a Dream in second. Let's talk about that one, who's debuting locally and stretching out. Used their speed to win the $75,000 that overnight stake at the fairgrounds for Brad Cox.
Yeah, Brad Cox with some live runners coming in here today. Won her last 2 impressively, one from off the pace, one showing speed, so you have to like that versatility.
The number 7, Diamond Wow, who was so impressive winning the 7 furlong Ardere Peggy here on the dirt here, and even more impressive when coming within head of winning the Grade 2 Jessamine Stakes from post 47 or 13. That was one of the most unbelievable performances. I can't believe that horse lost that race.
Oh, that was such a tough head bob. She ran huge. Got to see her train the other morning at Palm Meadows, and she's not a very big filly. I actually like the cutback and distance for her. I just didn't know what to do with her as she comes back off the layup. It's the surface switch. It's the cutback. She won at 5. She runs so well, going a mile and a 16th. She's got a lot of talent, and this is a really competitive race.
Yeah, I struggled between putting the 6 in second. And I actually had Diamond Wow in the beginning 4th, and I just kept going back and looking at that race, and I said, I'm not going to get beat by this horse, working up a storm, too, there. So we go to race number 9 this afternoon, 7 furlongs, allowance optional claim of 4-year-olds and up. The optional tag here is $62,500. We did have a couple of scratches in here. The 1, 4, and 5. Please note the number 13 gets in and runs this afternoon, and you went with the number 10, Violent City. And if you remember, both Brian's ticket and my ticket in the Rainbow 6 and in the late pick 5, we went deep, and this is the reason why.
Yes, I mean, you've got the horse that you have on top, Candyman Rocket, won the Sam F. Davis. You've got Prevalence, who took a lot of hype, Soup and Sandwich, who ran in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, all these horses off layoffs, which makes this race so interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. So I went with a horse that's second off the bench. Liked him a bit last time, coming in with the first start from March to January, and he ran behind Collaborate, who has a ton of talent for Saffie Joseph Jr. He got a 90 Beyer speed figure that day. So I thought with Ian Wilkes second off the bench, being able to build off of that last race, he was one that just had a little bit of the edge of having a recent start to build off of.
Well, the number 12, Candyman Rocket, one of my favorite horses, who was really impressive breaking his maiden here last January, as Acacia alluded to, making his 4-year-old debut, the first start since coming within the nose of defeating repeat stakes winner Barron in the 6 furlong Gold Fever at Belmont in May. Bill Mott just has this horse working exceptionally well up at Payson Park. And I just think if this horse comes back and is anything like he was before he went on the bench, I know he's got to deal with the outside post. I don't know what this horse is on the line. I think he's 8-1 or something like that. I'm not getting beat by him this afternoon.
I love that he comes back sprinting.
Yep.
He did not want any part, though he won the Sam F. Davis. It was not the toughest field that day. He does not want any part of going the distance. And so I love that he comes back sticking at 7. I thought, looking back at my notes in the Gold Fever, he ran a huge race behind Barron, who came back to win another stake in New York in his next start with a 93 buyer. He's ran some good races off the layoff. What do we get? I kept looking at him. He was on the bubble, drawn all the way to the outside. You also have Prevalence in here, who I've said right from the beginning is a 7 furlong horse, so I am so happy that that's what he's doing here today. And then what do you get from Soup and Sandwich, who we saw he had trouble. He displaced his palate in the Kentucky Derby. Came back into Perryville and didn't run, and we'll see if we can get him back on track today, too.
Yeah, I mean, he was second to Nona Gender in the Grade 1 Florida Derby last year. Returns looking to rebound. As you mentioned, a couple of double-digit length defeats and, one with that trouble. We'll see how this one runs for Mark Cassey. Louis Sayers trying to reignite that Colts considerable back class this afternoon. That's a really nice race there. Going back to the stakes action today and going back to the turf in race number 10, 1 mile and 1/16, Phillies 3-year-olds, $100,000, the Swedish Chant Grade 3 event. We did have one scratch in here of the number 9 horse, and you went with the number 8. Well, I'm liking your picks today, and that is Battle Charge.
Yeah. I thought handicapping that she was the one to beat, actually. We'll take a look at her last race at Tampa. This was her only turf start, and I thought she ran huge this afternoon. A filly by Will Take Charge for Tim Ham. If you're unfamiliar, just think back to Day Out of the Office, who was so good as a 2-year-old for him and early part of her 3-year-old season as well. This filly, Battle Charge, really took to the turf, and I think it's a really bold move of him to bring her down here to Gulfstream to run in the Swedish Chant. She picks up Tyler Gaffleone. Finished up really well that day. We know that she can handle a distance on the grass, and I thought that she was really intriguing, getting the chance to move forward and step up.
And Tim Ham, a really good trainer.
Very good trainer.
Very good trainer. I did go with the 2-horse Opalina in here, who's stretching out to the mile into 16. Returned from the layoff to finish the stalk to pace 3rd. That was in the 1 mile, $100,000 Ginger Brew. It's a daughter of Optimizer, who was competitive 5th in the Grade 2 Jessamine Stakes, that race we were alluding to. This horse didn't run badly in that race either. At this distance, back in October, I think she has the old proverbial screws tightened this afternoon and runs well.
It's really funny because this is the only horse we have the same in our top 4 picks are all over the place otherwise. I really think that Ambitus is going to run big today for Grand Motion. And I mentioned this before. I think the race that she comes out of for her debut at Aqueduct was a really competitive and live race on the turf in New York. And then last time out, she won nicely on the Tapeta. The figure came back slow, but I think we've seen that, and that's been a trend, in that some of the races on Tapeta, the figures come back a little slower than we may anticipate. So I wouldn't put too much stock into that. This is a talented filly. Her last 2 works on the turf at Palmettos have been really impressive.
Yeah, I'm loving these selections up here today. Number 3, Roughly a Diamond, is making her local return to first start since coming off the bench. She defeated those 75 optional claimers going this distance up at Tampa on the turf from Michelle Nie. Strong finisher Julian Leperoux in the saddle had a good day yesterday with a couple of wins, and we saw that video you showed a little early when he lost the crop in that race. So we'll see how Roughly a Diamond runs. Also Ocean Safari, another one stretching out. This one, Gilberto Zerpa, Hall of Fame jock Javier Castellano. Which way do you go here?
You can go a lot of ways, obviously.
Unbelievable. I love these competitive races. Let's go to race number 11 this afternoon, the feature race of the afternoon. 1 mile and 1/16. These are 3-year-olds. $250,000, the Grade 3 Holy Bull. And as you mentioned, getting some points for the Kentucky Derby in here. Paco Lopez will ride the number 3. And I know you were sold. You told me yesterday when you went to see number 9, Giant Game, you really like this horse.
I really liked him before the Breeders' Cup, actually, too, and he was a huge price. And I actually interviewed Dale Romans right before the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and it was mostly because I just couldn't take my eyes off this horse in the paddock beforehand. He's got a big pedigree, actually a pedigree to go either way, as he is the half-brother to Isotherm, but he's clearly shown that he can go a mile and a 16th. That's where he broke his maiden. I like that. Ran a big third last time out in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, going right into the deep end behind some really tough horses. He's been training sharply here at Gulfstream. Saw him training yesterday too, and he really has developed and filled out a bit more as well. I'm intrigued by him, and I also think it's interesting because speaking to Dale about how this pace may play out, he said that we're not going to let simplification get too far ahead. They're going to have this horse into the game.
And just to note here, when you handicap, and a mile and a 16th is the first finish line, and you at outside post, you know, just playing devil's advocate, you got to get that positioning, because if you let a horse like simplification just go on with it, you're in big trouble.
Louis Sy is so good at
yeah,
that, though.
he really is.
You got the right pilot for that.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of that at all. But I did go with Mo Donegal, who was trained by Todd Fletcher once again. Turning back to the mile and the 16, shook off some trouble to win the 9 furlong Grade 2 Remsen at Aqueduct. Arad Ortiz going for 3 in a row on the son of Uncle Mo. Certainly knows how to handle this horse.
Well, we'll show his Remsen. I thought he actually caused a little of the trouble. But he was really game to win. He closed on the outside over Zandon, who's also very talented for Chad Brown. The one thing about this horse in Mo Donegal is he has the tendency to not get out of the gate well. So that's really going to be his Achilles heel. This will be the 3rd consecutive time that Arad Ortiz rode him. As you mentioned, things get really tight down towards the rail there, but he was very game on the outside to win by a nose in the Remsen and looks for his 2nd graded stakes win already.
I didn't know what to do with the number 8 horse in here, White Barrier, who's undefeated on the Gulfstream main track. Returns, re-rally. It was a strange race that he came back and finished a game 3rd in the Grade 2 Kentucky Juvenile Cup at Churchill Downs for Safi. Tyler Gaffleone atop the son of Race Day. It was just like a weird race. This horse, if I remember in the stretch, just came back. I thought it was pretty game. Didn't know what to do. I'm going to throw him on the ticket. I don't know what price he's. Well, he's about 6 or 8 to 1.
Yeah, and Smile Happy, who beat him, is really talented. And speaking of Smile Happy, his trainer has another one, Ken McPeak, as Tis the Bomb, who was 2nd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile turf, coming from far off of it, won the Grade 2 Bourbon, and now they're going back to the main track. He broke his maiden on the main track at Ellis Park in an off-the-turf race, albeit, but he's shown he can handle both surfaces, and he's certainly very intriguing as well.
You know me, I always play speed. Why didn't I use simplification? I'm
That's
going
my
back now.
thought process, yeah.
He's going to be gone. He's going. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be gone, but he's definitely going.
If he can take him every step of the way, but that's going to be the game plan, I would think.
Well, I want to leave a couple of moments here because I want to hear about Acacia's long shot in the last along with mine. And I think maybe Brian has one in there, too. I'm not sure. Mile on the turf. Claimers 4 and up, $16,000. A wide open affair, which makes it fun. We did have a scratch of the 4, and the number 13 is going to get in and run. Take it away.
Well, I go to the number 2, Flow Motion. Comes out of a race that was a very, very oddly run race. So last time out, he was up on top of the pace. He was kind of in tight. He swung out, went back inside, had nowhere to run, stopped and start throughout the whole race. And he's one that I've always thought could actually handle the synthetic quite well. So he's going to be on the Tapeta today and picks up Junior Alvarado.
And nice price on there. What is that? 6 to 1 on the board.
Oh, that's it?
Yep. Graceful Kitten, a 3-time winner at this distance on the turf, returns to the grass, showed some speed. It got nailed late when going longer on the all-weather Tapeta surface. Amador Sanchez is going to keep things light. He's got the apprentice, 7-pound apprentice, Emma Norton, in the saddle again. And to me, it's just inside speed, how far this horse can go. Proven commodity running on the grass, 20 to 1 on the morning line. Hop aboard.
Yeah, he'll be a nice price, that's for sure. I think Mo Reddy is going to take a lot of money in here. Todd Fletcher and Arad Ortiz, he is dropping in class, but has actually run okay in some of those New York bred stakes up on the turf too, but it makes it for a very interesting race with this outside post.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you're handicapping this race, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
That's the horse to beat.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we both had some interest in the number 10, Vittori Kin, the Brazilian bred, a 5-time turf winner.
And he comes in from the Rob Atras barn. I know this horse well. He's been popular at the claim box throughout the years as well. Same owner, just switching to Marty Drexler, coming down here to Florida.
Well, that is the 12 exciting races. And now we're going to get to our ever popular lightning round. And boy, How good was this horse we're going to show right now?
Yeah, you might have heard some Let's Go Chuck being screamed out from California, as well as Hot Rod Charlie won the Group 2 Al Maktoum Challenge yesterday in Dubai, prepping for the Dubai World Cup for Doug O'Neill. And they said he was only about 70% fit. Certainly did not look. It was a huge effort to win by open lengths.
Yeah, this was very, very impressive. There was never a doubt. You know, today, like each and every Saturday, it is Beat the Expert Day, and guess who's up today?
You are.
I am up today, and let me tell you, get a chance. It's free to play, first of all. You know, you go on the Gulfstream Park website, you get a chance to win one of these cool polo shirts. We got a new one today.
It looks nice.
They're really nice. So make sure, just got to pick more winners than me. That's pretty easy when it comes to Beat the Expert Day. And, you know, so today you can see we got big smiles on the face, but we got some really good races tomorrow.
Yes, we do. We have a really exciting maiden special weight race to look forward to tomorrow, full of big pedigrees in race 6 tomorrow afternoon. So we thought it'd be fun to give a little preview of that. And what do you know? Chad Brown has a nice runner, it looks like, as well, to the inside. And that is Aerobatic, a filly by Arrogate, homebred for Juddmonte Farm. Here's a recent workout at Palmettos. This is just one of the exciting races that we'll get to see tomorrow.
You know, you can ask people throughout the world, you know, who's their greatest racehorse that they love. You can go with, you know, Cigar, whoever it might be. A lot of people will have Holy Bull right on top of that list.
We pay tribute to a truly great racehorse this afternoon at Gulfstream Park. So we take a little stroll back in history to the 1994 Hutchison with Ross Martin on the mic.
And Holy Bull leads it, but it will be pressed by Patton in on the rail. It's Sunshine Man. Patton goes through, and Santos and Patton come on after the lead, and Holy Bull will have to fight to the outside. They move to the 8th pole, and Patton will take the lead. Holy Bull coming right back on the outside. They're in mid-stretch. On the outside, Holy Bull is game, and Mike Smith moves alongside. They come down to the wire, and Holy Bull pressed this afternoon, but will take it by a half a length. Patton in second, and you and I third.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream. It was like this big fairy tale place.
We back.
Northern Dancer, winner of the Florida Derby.
Yeah.
All the history and all these great horses, trainers, jockeys.
It is Barbaro to the final furlong. He is a neck in front. Barbaro wins!
It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Sunday silence surges to the front.
First day, opening day of championship meet, I was kind of starstruck. You're watching LeBron James, and then next thing you know, you're playing basketball against him. That's how I felt when I'm riding with Donnie V, riding with Irad, Luis.
So many famous people come, Post Malone, Pharrell, J-Lo was there. It's epic.
The weather is beautiful. The facility is phenomenal.
It's all about Knicks Go. Knicks Go makes it 4 in a row.
It's one of the most beautiful tracks in the country, surrounded by some of the greatest horses and riders. It's amazing.
I grew up in Louisiana. My dad was a jockey, and my grandfather was a trainer. My grandfather trained in the backyard, so he had a barn behind the trailer house that we lived in. And so every afternoon when I'd get off the school bus, I was straight to the barn doing chores. I was an only child with no other kids around. You know, horses, looking back now, I didn't know then, but they were therapy for me. I just cherish them, you know, they're best thing could have happened to me.